all this shit up. So, hang on. So, do you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves? King, I guess we'll start with you.
Say again.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, I am Colonel King Woods. I'm the CEO of 31st MEU.
Celeste.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Celestrum. I'm the XO of the 31st MEU. One of a good few active duty and/or veteran guys here. I am 5 years in the Army Reserve as a Bravo wheeled vehicle mechanic. Learned enough bullshit to get by in the Army, transfer my knowledge over here, mostly into vehicle operations and things of that nature, but yeah.
And, Cheddar.
I am Sergeant.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I thought you're still eating your burger.
Oh, no, that's Celestial. I'm Sergeant Major Cheddar. I am the third in command of the 31st MEU. A little bit about me without revealing too much. I'm a police officer in real life in the state of Maryland. I work for a small town. And I'm a police officer in real life. I use some of the training that I've gotten as a police officer to help train the boys here. And so far, so good. Everything has turned out really well so far.
All right. Now,
so far, so good. Everything has turned out really well.
Still trying to get the hang of all this. Original idea was to do this in the server, but I think I should have started downloading at least 2 hours out because RHS, status quo, and a whole lot of them like to take their sweet ass time.
Yeah, they do.
Well, the good news is you've got a little bit of time before our deployment begins, so you're a little bit late, that's alright. If you feel like streaming and running with one of the squads or something of that nature, feel free, we'd love to have you.
First question is like, what's, why choose the 31st MEU? Like was you guys wanted to do a Marine unit, or what was the process behind that?
We decided we wanted to go with a Marine unit, and choosing to go with a MEU structure, it gives us versatility to do anything from infantry, armor, aviation. They have a lot of support elements in the Marine Expeditionary Unit, so it just helps us be able to expand, and it gives us potential to grow into a large unit. So that is the main reason that we chose to go with a MEU.
Do you guys have an aviation regiment or squadron?
Yes.
Actually?
Yes, we do actually. I am the interim CO for that for now. We're basing it off of the real life HMH 361, as well as HMLA 367 and VMM 265. Right now we're using Blackhawks as a substitute for heavier helicopters just because we don't have access to the CH-53 yet. If you're a modder and you're listening to this, I would very, very highly recommend reaching out to us because we definitely need it. But yeah, so we've got a logistics and transport wing. We have a light attack wing, and we have, for some of the more advanced pilots, our special operations aviation, as well as our medical aviation programs. So flight medics and little birds, really, but light, small, fast aircraft to get special teams in and out of their objectives.
Being a 31st MEU or Marine Amphibious Unit, do you guys also have like say fixed wing or VTOL aircraft?
Unfortunately, not at the moment. It is something that we've looked into before, but at the moment, with Reforger in the current state that it is, it's not really feasible. With the maps being as small as they are, and there really being a lack of modern aircraft that function in a way that is good to teach on and let people understand, at the moment we don't really have the abilities for fixed wing. But if it came along in the future with bigger maps and better supported framework, then we would probably look into it a little bit better.
That's actually going to be my next question concerning the size of the maps. Like, have you guys found, like, say, um, like a model like LHA or LHD, to where like you could do amphib operations for like launch from the well decks or and head towards the beach, or is that haven't has that not really uh, bore fruit?
So we were trying to use the carrier Adelaide not too long ago, and unfortunately, it's just not very well modeled into the game as far as like being able to put an arsenal box on it or have players walk around on it. It's just glitchy. Players kind of bounce around a little bit and can't really. I mean, you can walk on it, but it's not ideal. You try to spawn a vehicle on it, it moves around. It just wasn't working. And then the server crashed while we were using it multiple times, so we eventually decided to ditch it, and now
Jesus.
we are at the village of Kudu. In fact, I can actually stream where they're at right now.
Yeah, that was originally our
If you want to
plan
have a look.
for the start of the deployment. We were going to launch from the well dock on the Adelaide to do a beach landing to start our deployment, but unfortunately, with the issues we were having with it, we had to move away from that.
Yeah.
Have you
So
gotten
we
in
did have
touch
the
with the?
carrier out here in the ocean, but we deleted it.
Uh, Kind of like what you do with the setting up the fobs.
Yeah, they do a very good job with setting it up. Our S3 guys, their names are Big Primo, Circus Ninja, and Psycho. They are, well, they're missing at the moment because they were on this hill, but they are our S3 guys. They're our operations guys, so they actually help set up all of the enemy AI and the objectives and things like that. Oh, that's actually, these are the guys right here. These three.
Can you just like walk us through real quick, like what is the operation for today's deployment?
I'm gonna
So-
let them
so-
answer that.
So today, this is our first day deployment. As I said before, we were going to launch off the Adelaide and kind of move up. Cheddar, can you move over to the left to show that inlet? So we were
Yeah.
going to use the ribs as BTRs as amphibious vehicles. You passed it. Right there.
Oh, that little thing.
Yeah, we were going to move in through this inlet and take the SAM sites. There's 3 SAM sites located up on the hills, just off of this river. And then once we had destroyed those SAM sites, we were going to capture the 3rd one at Camp Checkmate, and we were going to set that up as our fob for this deployment.
Nice.
So this is one of the SAM sites here. You can see it's got its own radar connected to it, and they actually function. I have watched them fire missiles at helicopters flying over.
I seen that.
What?
I seen that mod coming recently, but I never actually understood. Like I got in one and I trying like pushing every button on the damn controller trying to get it to fire at least anything or nothing at all.
Yeah, well, we've seen it fire. I've never fired it myself, but I have watched it successfully fire.
It is guided without any other extra support from the operator. So the second that missile leaves the rack, it is locked on and ready to hit. Most of the time, they hit too fast for a helicopter to be able to dodge properly, because it is more designed for fixed-wing aircraft, but you'll have your rare occurrences. Yes, absolutely. So, and that's one of the things that why it's so pertinent that it happens is because if they're going to rely on close air support aviation, it's going to be a pain in the ass to do so without these SAM sites being secured. So, the sooner that those SAM sites come offline, usually that'll give us about a 500-meter square of airspace that we can operate in. And what we'll have is the Cobra. It's going to be at a standoff distance. The Little Bird is going to be swooping in for what is called a hunter-killer maneuver. Little Bird goes in, scouts out targets, drops flares above it to determine the best area for the Cobra to come in from. Cobra is armed with Hellfires, 76mm rockets, and 30mm cannon. Will come in slowly from standoff distance, deploy Hellfires where needed, move in after the fact to swoop in with the cannon and rockets to take out everything else that needs to be taken out.
Nice. I always liked how these things looked. Like I know I'm not sure if that type of missile is still in use
That
around the world.
that
I have no
trailer that
idea.
you see next to the radar dish, that's actually the control center for the SAM site.
Yeah, that's where the players get in.
How many people like? I never said like how many people does it take to operate? Is it 2 or 1?
Just
Wonder if I
one.
Just
can
one.
go in it. Can I see in here? Oh, here we go.
Hey, Half-Ass is going to be running around on his own tonight. He's going to move as far advanced recon, so he will be in charge of calling in calls for fire and things of that nature. He's the only stay guy that's available to make it tonight, so
Copy.
we'll get to see some good calls for fire and things of that nature as well.
All right. Another question I had kind of pertains to recent. I'm not sure either all of you guys or a lot of them were part of the 3rd Marine Raider Battalion. We know they shut down, but apparently a lot of the guys left the unit and came here, from what I was told. You guys go into like what happened?
Yeah, I can let Woods cover that first and foremost, and we'll add in as needed.
So, when we were a part of the 3rd Marine Raider Battalion, they had a great group of guys there in leadership. Clutch is a great dude. Genta, they were more so of a chill zone, and a lot of the guys that were there that are now here wanted to be a part of more of a realism Milsim. So they were kind of unhappy with what was going on there, and how things were being held. Which again is it's nothing against 3rd MRB. Everybody has their own itch. Everybody has what they like. Um, a group of us, myself, Celestrum, a couple other guys got together and had a few conversations about it over probably a course of a month. Of potentially creating our own unit. And so we finally decided to jump to it and start building something, focusing on realism and sticking to that. So we now have a command staff full of active duty and veteran service members to help us stay on that path.
Now, when you started making the unit, was it already evident that 3RB wasn't really going to do anything, or it was kind of dying out? Like,
It had stagnated there for a while. They had a big influx of PS5 guys when PlayStation got the game, and when that had happened, they had decided to close down boot camp. And when they had reopened it, unfortunately, we never gained momentum back in 3rd MRB. So they kind of stagnated. Guys were leaving, guys were losing interest, getting frustrated, and I believe that's when it kind of started to fall apart, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, as far as the boot camp goes, 3rd MRB had a good influx of recruits. I mean, they had 20, 30 recruits coming in per week, and that's a lot. And in the boot camp, there were easily 20, 30 people there. But then they shut down the boot camps for what we were told was to help develop leadership. But then they never put out any courses. They never actually helped develop any leadership. And then all of a sudden they decided to reopen the boot camps. And when they did, we had, if we were lucky, we had about 5 recruits in a boot camp. And we couldn't regain that momentum no matter what we did. So that frustrated me, Woods, and Celestrum, along with some unrealistic things that were going on in 3rd MRB, such as the fact that they're much more of a chill sim. They did not really want to adhere to like strict SOPs or anything like that. So we got together and kind of started to make this in the background. And we thought about how we would go about creating this if we decided to do it. This was more of a backup plan more than anything. And then and we knew that third MRB was okay with um, dual simming. So basically, we were allowed to,
Not too many people actually
be a part of
agree with
another
that.
unit.
That's kind of surprising.
I'm sorry.
Like not too many units that I know of are actually okay with that. That's kind of surprising to hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
it was
were
a
until they found out that
conversation.
we were doing it.
It was a conversation that was had multiple times. I know we had several recruits coming in that had claimed to be in other units. When we first had opened, it was absolutely zero tolerance. But then as the unit, um, had been around a little bit longer, we kind of got more lenient with it. They started allowing it to an extent, we could dual sim or people could dual sim, but they couldn't hold anything above or any kind of NCO rank or above. And then it just became something, it was what it was, nobody, we weren't going to hold anybody back who wanted to join the unit or wanted to be anywhere else. So,
Yeah, so we were creating our thing, and as time went on, I mean, it was only a time span of like a few days. People, word spread, and essentially they decided to completely kick us and anyone associated with us from the unit. That kind of killed third MRB in itself, and they tried to patch up with the guys that they had left over, but they just essentially couldn't do it. And we don't have any hard feelings towards them or anything like that. They kicked us while we were sleeping, and they kicked anyone else out that they knew that we got along with. Essentially, I mean, anybody who liked it to be more realistic and stuff like that, they kicked us all out at once. It was one mass ban. It was actually kind of crazy.
Yeah,
it was.
when the situation was brought to light that the 3MRB is shutting down for fuck all reasons. One of the guys from 3MRB trying to make it out like a lot of the guys were poached from the 3MRB to 31st MEU. Like, was there poaching or was like, or
No, there was no poaching. Once we had got kicked, I mean, I was the company XO. We had Cheddar, he was PL for one of the platoons, and a couple other guys in leadership positions that had ended up getting kicked in the middle of the night. Even guys that weren't a part of third MRB that were just in the unit as civilians on good graces ended up getting kicked because they were just affiliated with us. And once people had realized that we were gone, they had started reaching out to us and asking questions. And I mean, I'm not going to lie to anybody, we told them what had happened. We had been discussing starting our own unit. And once they had caught wind of it, we had got kicked in the middle of the night. And at that point, those guys then decided that they didn't want to be in that unit without us because they had been running with us for, months at that point. I mean, we did what we could to kind of help the guys out and try to keep things on the right path. And without us there, they didn't want to be there either. So they decided they wanted to come with us as well.
and did you guys try to like? Did they reach out to you after the situation and try like to?
I reached out to Clutch.
Yeah, Woods reached out to them.
I
They
had
didn't reach out to us.
I had reached out to Clutch a couple days after the fact, once things kind of, settled down a little bit. I had asked him to hop in a VC with me, in which at that point for starters, I apologized to him because that's not at all the way that I wanted things to go by any means. I didn't want it to get to the point where 60% of their members had left and ended up coming here. That was very unfortunate. Like I said, I have no ill will. I had no ill feelings towards them and what they were doing. I think Clutch is a great guy. Um, but I think, if there would have been a conversation with us beforehand, with myself, with Celestrum, it wouldn't have turned out that way. Um, I think it was a big part of it was just guys waking up, realizing that, people that they fell in with, that they looked up to, that they had trusted to lead them were gone, that they didn't want to be in that unit anymore. Um, so it was just it was a series of very unfortunate circumstances that led to what it was, and the claims, as I'm sure you know, and a lot of people knows. that had made us kind of infamous there at startup.
It was, yeah, it's kind of a weird way to start things, but I mean, there's been weirder.
All right.
Now, I know I was kind of surprised on this how because a lot of the guys from 3MRB were actually former first bat guys from the 75th.
Yes, so I could speak on that a little bit. There was a poaching allegation when we first got in and split off from 3rd MRB. A lot of the guys that were there in my platoon, especially, I was a platoon lead for Copperhead in particular. We brought them in. And there were some of those, most of the beginning population of 3MRB actually, that was X75th. And they were pulled into 3MRB in a very similar manner to how we ended up doing the same against 3MRB. It was just a standard thing of, oh, I've been running with these guys for 2 years now. I'm going to go with them. You know, it's not at all us poaching. It's not any sort of thing like that. It very much was just a, these are my guys. I'm going to, wherever they end up is where we end up. So.
I found it kind of odd that, like, they would start raising hell saying, oh, they poached from us. It's like, my God, that's how you were founded. Or that's how the whole unit was started. I mean, out there, a lot of the guys, their first bat, some of the guys were folks I was in with in first bat, like Freedom Company, Blade Platoon. A lot of Blade guys went over there. It was fucking weird.
Yeah, so Blade was kind of some of our stuff. And I apologize. I'm having to place things down and talk at the same time. These guys will tell you I cannot do two things at once. So somebody else wants to pick up while I do this.
Well, I can't either, and I'm trying to focus on just giving you a nice shot with the camera. But basically, what it comes down to is, like, I mean, for example, the three of us, Celestrum, Woods, and I, we've known each other for a very long time now. We've known each other, you know, pre-3MRB and now post-3MRB, but we knew each other back in the 75th in the 1st Battalion in the original Copperhead platoon. We were a part of the original Copperhead platoon.
I didn't know there was Copper. Like, the only two platoons I know was I was in Blade 2.
Yeah, there was Copperhead and Blade.
Blade was stood up.
You can't forget about Goose.
Blade was stood up after Copperhead. Blade was actually stood up by some Copperhead members in the 75th. So Copperhead was formed through Geronimo in the 75th. They did a program. It was like a 4-week long AIT. They had placed recruits out of boot camp into a platoon of their own, given senior leadership as squad leads, PL, and PSG. And then the rest of the unit.
Excuse me one second, gentlemen. I will be right back.
The rest of the platoon was filled out by recruits fresh out of boot camp.
I'm telling you,
so
Whataburgers can give you the runs.
So after, I think Copperhead was stood up for a few months at that point, we had gotten moved to first bat, and then there were some things that had happened I'm not going to get into. They had ended up splitting some of us off into a new stand-up platoon, which became Blade. And we had some squad leads, I believe a PSG, that went over to Blade to help get it stood up and ready.
That's pretty nice. I know I was there for a little bit, and then I transferred out to another group. While I was there, I don't know what it was, like either unit rivalry or something, or platoon rivalry. But we had beef with Goose. I don't even know what the fuck happened. Like, we go, we do like.
I wasn't a part of that. I don't know.
Fuck it. It was fun. We usually just shoot the shit with each other, meme each other.
Oh.
We'll have. There'll be one guy from Blade who also, like, he will always make fucking memes about Goose, and shit got pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of that way between Copperhead and Echo in 3MRB. I mean, it was kind of known throughout the whole unit that the Copperhead guys were fathers, career men, you know.
Did they call
mid to
the
late 20s, maybe early 30s, that sort of thing. And then the Echo guys were the skibbity toilet Riz kids that were constantly saying that. And they didn't get along. And I tried to be that bridge and build that bridge between the two of the platoons, and it just didn't work.
They just call Copperhead platoon a boomer platoon.
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
Jesus Christ. So now that you guys you got your roots in pretty much. You got 31st premise set up, and you guys been. I want to say this your first week or second week as a unit.
This is actually going into our third week.
Third week.
Yep.
Now.
I thought we were pushing a month actually.
Yep. Going into our third week, if I remember correct. It might be a month.
Yeah, close to that, pretty much. So what is the future plans for the 31st?
So my goals, my vision for the 31st is to become a unit that can rival in comparison to the 75th in terms of size and structure. Again, that is why we went with a MEU structure, because of how expansive we can be. It gives so many different paths to follow, like I said before, between aviation, already armor, infantry. I mean, there's just so much that we can do with a MEU, and it gives us a great baseline to start on and become that. I mean, within, the past 3 weeks, we have grown significantly. We started as, 15, 20 guys, and now we're looking at 100. I think we have 130 members in the Discord, and it hasn't even been a month. So I mean, we've been getting out there, we've been doing our thing, guys have been hearing about us, and I can't be more proud of, what we've become and what we're becoming. So I have high hopes for what we can do here.
Yeah, so as far as the official count of people who are actually officially enrolled in the unit and are part of the private Milsim, we're at 95, 96 right now. So we're pushing the hundreds to as far as how many active members we have that are actually in the private unit. That's not including the civilians. So I think that's pretty damn impressive for what we started as.
Yeah. Now,
especially in a short amount of time.
What does your training pretty much look like? Are you how do I put this? Like some units have you got some big units out there, and they kind of ride the whole quantity thing. When you got kind of smaller, medium-sized units to go for quality, do you aim to be that? You start out small, but then you work up to be a bigger unit. Do you still aim for a higher quality training?
Yeah. So as far as the training goes, First Lieutenant or Second Lieutenant Rulo and Second Lieutenant Lex Wolf are the ones who are primarily responsible for training their platoons. I can speak on Rulo's behalf. In particular, I know for a fact that he can train his boys up to know anything and everything about basic infantry tactics and advanced infantry tactics, along with convoy operations and ambushes with convoys and anything along those lines. Are you familiar with the CAT platoon? He also set that up as well. Let's see,
what platoon?
combat anti-armor team, something like that. Convoy anti-armor team, something like that.
Combined anti-armor team.
Combined, that's the fucking word.
Yeah, so both of our current active platoon leads are veterans or active duty, rather. Rolo is active duty Marine. Lex Wolf is active duty Army. They have each brought their knowledge from being in the military IRL to the unit to help with training. So I'd like to say our training is of high quality. I mean, we have guys, like I said, amongst command staff and leadership positions that have served or are serving IRL to help give us a realistic experience.
Yep. And as far as aviation goes, Celestrum is the one in charge of that. I'm directly underneath him, and we push the guys through anything and everything from communication with ATC to landing in a hot LZ to evasive maneuvers to maintaining altitude, maintaining a heading, proper landing procedures, maintaining a traffic pattern, all that sort of stuff. So anything that's realistic as far as aviation goes, anything you can think of, I'm pretty sure we've implemented it. We put them through about a 3-week long training course before they become a pilot.
Oh, nice.
And then with our armor platoon, I mean the platoon lead and platoon sergeant for that, they are both active duty currently, and they have experience in armored platoons. Staff Sergeant Pimp, he has experience in armor as well as a mortarman, and Lieutenant Latina, he has also got experience with a striker unit IRL. So both of them are very familiar with armor, and that helps with the training aspect for that unit.
Latina.
So yep, Latina Lightning.
Latina Lightning.
I haven't heard. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, he's still around.
Yep, that was our old PL from the 75th. I managed to wrangle him
Yes,
up.
it was.
I remember that name. I don't even think I may have came across him like once or twice and not even realize it.
Latina is single-handedly responsible for what we refer to as striker trauma. There was a point in time in which 1st Battalion's fucking flagship platoon did nothing for 3 months other than mechanized armor shit.
I had to drive that damn striker for a month.
He just constant mechanized armor training is.
Yes.
Man, you might as well live in the damn thing.
And I was just a driver. I was not allowed to do anything else.
It was cool for the first couple weeks. I mean, it was fun. It was new, and then after a while, the guys kind of got a little tired of it. Being a driver was, I mean, as Cheddar can speak on, wasn't the most fun in the world. There was a lot of issues with it. The striker mod was relatively new at the time. We had a lot of guys rolling it. It made for some very interesting operations and trainings. That's to say the least.
The problem is I was damn good at it. I was damn good at driving that thing.
I will say that. I mean, we were damn good at what we did. I mean, whether it be setting up SBF or direct assault, we went in with strikers. You can count on the mission being a success.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I don't know what the fuck he just did. Man, he's snorting, man. I don't want to know.
One second.
I heard that mouthful.
My bad, gentlemen.
Damn, man. So, I'm telling you, Celestial, man. Fucking, that Whataburger can give you the runs. It ain't gonna feel
Oh,
good.
yeah.
But, gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for your time and taking time out of your day to talk with them and then just get us a rundown, like what your unit is, like what you guys plan to do. I know LA Flash, I know he popped in. I'm not sure if he's still watching.
Ow.
He heard of like Milsim units on Twitter, like they pretty much like this big. I can't really how do I best describe it. Pretty much, you can go to the website, register a unit, and they actually have a
Yep.
Discord where you can join like pump shoulders with other units.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. For those of you who are watching, if you are interested in what we do and you would like to do anything of the sort, please, just consider joining us up at discord.gg/31MEU. That is discord.gg/31Mike Echo Uniform.
All right. And with that, folks,
Does that link still work?
Yes, that link does still work.
Okay.
You and yours are welcome to come in and attend our first deployment if you would like to. If not, I understand if you're a busy man. Either way, we're very happy to have been able to talk with you.
All right. And folks, like always, we will see you guys in the next one.